Hey, good evening, everybody in the UK, whatever time zone you're in America. Welcome. We are with Lionel. We are doing an Ask Lionel Anything, but of course, you're going to bombard him with Diddy questions as usual. And we got this big news about Hunter Biden getting pardoned. Lionel, I read your email, your newsletter comprehensively. You touched on all some great points there. Do you want to reiterate some of that to the viewers? And huge thank you for coming
Well,
back.
sure. A couple of things here. Let me try to put this into context for your audience, for your great and wonderful audience, probably UK heavy. Under our Constitution, we have this wonderful thing called the power of the pardon, and it's beautiful. And it's terrific so long as your guy is doing the pardoning. If he is, everything's groovy. And it grants this Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1 of our Constitution, which I always have here next to me, along with all of my little stickers for every time I voted. This is what America's about. It's not about the flag and songs and YMCA. It's about the Constitution. But it grants to the president reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, meaning federal crimes, not state crimes, not local, specific ones, except in cases of impeachment. Now, what does this mean? Not to bore people, but it really gives him, the president or her, the absolute power to not only commute a sentence, to pardon, to say if future cases, I could pardon you, Shaun, for stuff you haven't even done yet. In the case of Richard Nixon, when he stepped down, they gave him a pardon. Gerald Ford, his successor, gave him a pardon. And people said, pardon of what? He wasn't charged with anything. They were going to impeach him. They were going to remove him. They may have charged him, and they gave him a pardon. It's like a vaccine. I don't want to use that word, but it just is. So even that concept doesn't make any sense. It's weird. So basically, look, Shaun, we knew he was going to do this. Let me ask you a question. Little Ziggy, you're the president, you're the king, you're whatever. Would you grant your son a pardon? Yes.
So if we have blood sacrificed a country such as Ukraine, and we'd offered mafia protection to oligarchs and billionaires, and my son was in a conspiracy to fleece said country, I would try and avoid him from facing those consequences.
I would answer the question 100%. Yes. I don't even know what the issue is. It's like, of course, I'll deal with it my way.
I mean, no, Burisma?
I don't care Burisma, whatever it is. Listen, let's just get down to the first question. And I think this has a lot to do with morality and familial responsibility and the like. My son, my daughter, I'm their father. I protect him. That's what I do. That's it. You don't like it? I don't care. This is my son and my daughter. Let me ask you a question. Let's assume, I don't know, we've never talked about religion, but I am a retired Catholic. I was raised in Catholic school, parochial school, Catholic school, and I think nothing but fond things about them. But I don't, practice anymore, so I'm pretty much retired. Not recovering, but just retired. Now, there was a time when if you went to a priest and you told a priest what you did, the priest would grant you absolution in terms of either confession and or I think they call it a reconciliation now. Nobody's got a problem with that. Nobody's got a problem. I mean, this is the ultimate pardon. This is a pardon, dispensation from hell or whatever it is. People would say, well, of course. Do you have to show any contrition? You say the act of contrition. I mean, it's so I don't know why we have any problem with the notion of granting pardons and the like. But let's talk about this case. Shaun, this is the most corrupt. These people make hardcore downtown LCN gangsters look like members of the Boy Scouts. These are hardcore. Have you ever known, I'm sure you have in your life, real gangsters, real criminals, criminal mind? They're very good to you. They're very nice, but they think about this 24/7. They think differently. How can I steal? How can I? They're thieves. They love it. This is the part. This is what these people are. The Biden administration, they are the worst. And the best part is, I love people who love to do it in front of you. It's not that they just do this. They could say shell corporations and strong men. No. Joe Biden was in Ukraine and said, and I told that Ukrainian guy, either you have this, you stop this prosecution of Poroshenko, whoever it was, or you're not going to get the $2 billion. He said it and didn't care anything about it. This is a hardcore gangster, Joe Biden. He is. Don't let him fool you. He may walk around incontinent, dropping a load in his britches, but when it comes, he's been around for 50-something years. He knows where the bodies are buried. He is a gangster. He's a killer. Don't ever forget that. So he doesn't care, but he set his son up. This son was in no shape. And there is a part of me that feels sorry for this miserable, evil seed, this spawn. Because if ever you've been around or seen anybody who's in the throes of drug addiction, and really, if you don't think you can do that, it rewires everything. Reality, what you would do in terms of risk. It goes into your brain, rewires it. And what comes out, you're not the same. I don't care if you're Hunter Biden or some guy on the street. So I have a real soft spot. In my professional career as a lawyer, I'm lucky to say I've had no individual problems with it personally, but that's only because I didn't try half of this stuff. If the reason why I'm not a meth addict, I never tried meth or anything else for that matter, heroin. Let me tell you, I had some great stuff in the hospital a couple of times. I thought, oh man, this is too good. So I don't think that my dopamine receptors are any more, strong than you. I'm just lucky. That goes for gambling. It goes for anything else for that matter. Don't ever think that you're beyond that. You are just as screwed up as anybody else. So there's a part of me that feels sorry. And Shaun, they set him up. He could have gotten his brother, Jim, but why get him? Why get this guy who's with hookers and crack pipes to allow him to potentially screw up and land for the rest of his life in prison? Because they don't care. He doesn't worry about anything. He does it with it. I'm Joe Biden. I'll do whatever I want. I've been here for 50 years. You can't touch me. My opinion.
So, does this absolve the big man from being investigated for offering mafia protection to the oligarchs of Ukraine who'd carved the country up and the blood sacrifice? Hasn't he effectively pardoned himself?
No. Well, first of all, I love you to death, but he didn't do any of that stuff. He was a politician. That's called politics. That's called realpolitik. That's called making a deal. Are you kidding? Netanyahu, Zelensky, anybody but Putin? I mean, Trump, Nixon, Lyndon Johnson, Maggie Thatcher. You cannot go into government today and not be a serial killer, or you can't. You are a serial killer. You go in. There are people right now. I hear people all the time talk about what's going on in Israel and Gaza. And they're talking about like, well, what are you going to do? They pull kids out. They look like dolls that were run over by a truck covered in gray, this pyroclastic dust of pulverized, dust. They're limp and they've got that death look. They go, well, there you go. October the 7th. What do you... It's weird how, and these are people who are seemingly normal. They've got kids, they've got grandkids, So, what you say is terrific, but come on, man. This is
Real
these people don't
politics.
care. Pardon me?
All right, folks, get your questions in for Lionel. Also, Lionel's links are in the description box below this video. So check out his work, go over to his channel and support him on X.
At Lionel Media and YouTube at Lionel Nation. Now, can I tell you what you want to get real conspiratorial?
Yes.
This is what I think happened. Now, listen to this. Dig this. At the end of the president's term, he always meets the new president. Okay? And the new president has never been a president before. It's always somebody new. So the old president says, okay, first of all, this is where everything is. Bathrooms down the hall. But let me give you a couple of ideas. I want to talk to you. And they always talk about this conversation about president to president. And nobody knows it. It is as secret as you can get, and they can deny it all they want. This is the second time in history where you have two ex-presidents meeting. We had in 1890, whatever, Grover Cleveland, who won 2 non-consecutive terms. So Trump has already been president. So 2 presidents talked. This is never, this is since, 19th century. This is brand new. So they get to close the door and they look at each other and they say, I know. So let me tell you this conversation. I am an aficionado. I used to do a lot of business with professional wrestling in our country. And the one thing about professional wrestling is you learn the work. It's a work. Good guy, bad guy, baby face, heel. It's an act. And when all is said and done, you and I are the best of friends. Same thing with just like old cartoons, like Warner Brothers with the sheepdog and the wolf and it. Time to go home, Sam. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. But we're trying to kill each other during the day. But when all is said and done, it's just business. It's just business. So they're talking, and this is what I think happened. Biden says, can you believe, I don't want to curse. Can you believe this? Yep, I can. Biden says, you know what they did to me in 2016? I was supposed to run against you. And Trump said, you would have been good. He goes, I know. But they told me no. They put in that bitch, pardon my French, that harridan, that Meretrix, that virago, Hillary Clinton. And look what happened to her. You cleaned her clock. But I could have given you a run for the money. Joe, you're right about that. So they told me to sit down, to sit it out. 2020 came along. And I stole it. But fair and square. We had more votes. I got 80 million. I got more votes than. But it's moot at this point. And Trump said, I know, but I got away with it. It was a different time. It was COVID, but I understand. And they're talking to each other like, I understand. So then what happened was, after it comes along, I was going to go up against you right now. And let's face it, I'm not in the best of shape right now. I lost my fastball, as we say. But I don't know what happened. And then all of a sudden, they're telling me they're going to get rid of me. They're going to pull a 25th Amendment on me. And they're going to put in this gay mala for all of our Latino friends, who is an idiot. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute, what? Yeah, we want her. Her? No, this is my time. I'm the president. I won. My party selected me. No. What do you mean no? No, we're not going to do it that way. Okay. So then Biden says, and you know what I did? I know what you did, Joe. I said, F you. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to endorse her. You're not supposed to endorse her. Oh, no. You want me to step down? I'm going to endorse her. They said, no, we want you just to step down. Then we'll we'll have a convention and we'll pick somebody. You know what? No way. You want to play hardball with me? I'm playing hardball with you. F me, F you. Ha ha. And Trump's probably laughing his arse off at what he did. He said, and it gets better. So anyway, she gets out there. And then Trump probably leaned over and said, I thought this is a joke. They're sandbagging me. They're going to do something. I don't know. It just got worse. She was never prepped. She didn't want this. I know. I can't believe it. And not only did I beat her, he beat her. I mean, like a purple-headed stepchild. I mean, if electoral vote, popular vote, he won every battleground state. She was the worst. And she put out about $2 billion that they can't account for. They gave Oprah Winfrey $2-3 million for what? They gave Al Sharpton $500,000 to do what? He never even told his MSDNC folks he might be in trouble. I mean, you've got James Carville who's going to. I mean, this is a cluster like you can't believe. So they're sitting here laughing their ass off. So anyway, so here's the deal. It says, so Joe, yeah, Don, I got a way to do a really good FU. What is it? Okay, first of all, you want to, you've got to pardon Biden. Hunter. I know. Here's what I want you to do. Pardon me. What? Pardon me. Joe Biden pardons Donald Trump for anything I might have done. Maybe there's some case out there that's, that they could bring because the pardons are from Jan 2014 to 2000, whatever. And by the way, the pardon goes basically when Burisma, it covers everything. So Joe, you pardon me. Hey, that's good. That's a to you, Democratic Party. That's what you think. Now, when I get in, I'm going to pardon you. You got that? Yeah. And people will say, great. And I'll tell my people, they'll say, but won't your Republicans be mad? No, hell no. I'm going to tell them it was an FU to the Democrats. They'll love it. You're right. Then you're going to also get rid of this pesky state charge because this quote conviction, he was never convicted. He was merely found guilty because a conviction under the laws of the United States is a formal adjudication of guilt by the court. That hasn't happened yet. So this, I don't want to get too technical here, but that was really a federal charge hidden as a state. So they're going to drop that. So anyway, you remember the movie Reservoir Dogs where they all start shooting each other at the end? They're all, well, it's kind of like that, but the only ones who are dead are the Republicans and the Democrats, but the ones shooting are still standing. And it's a double FU. And Trump is so good at this. He knows this will drive them crazy. This will drive them nuts. So everybody gets pardoned. Everybody walks away, and they're the best of friends. And they're going to go nuts, the Democrats, because the Democrats don't know what to do here. The Democrats they're freaking out. And they're losing everything. Here, I guess you know this, we have MSNBC, which was one of the liberal bastions. Elon's going to probably buy it and call it MXNBC. In fact, NBC, the national broadcasting company, this venerated, vaunted, they want to have nothing to do with it. They get our name off this. Get our name off this. You're on your own. We're not going to let you use our news sources. They're at 30 Rock, Rockefeller Center, where they have the big Christmas tree and this famous. They may be moving to some Jersey garage somewhere. It's collapsing. CNN, forget it. So, Shaun, everything is collapsing. The Democratic media, the Democratic politics, political strata, it's all falling apart. And you're seeing it all over the world. And this is not just an event here. This is everywhere. Trump did something. Or maybe it was going to happen anyway. It's like they're still trying to attribute the falling of the wall to Reagan in Russia. But this is bigger than anything you can imagine. Now, it gets even better. We get to the real hardcore. Because remember, these people are killers. And there's one thing about killers. They will make a deal with the devil. So Trump says, I got to deal with you. Let's get in Barry, Obama. They screwed him. He's nothing now. He's nothing. And Michelle, I don't even know what the hell that's about. She's out doing her whatever she's doing. They are so bad. He was in charge of nothing. Everybody said he was pulling the strings. He's not pulling anything. Oh, he's pulling something, but it's not the strings. Then you've got Hillary. Hillary's furious. Hillary said, I'm going to run in 2016. They abandoned her. She was supposed to be the president. She sat out twice when Bill ran for governor and won in Arkansas. Then he was 2 terms as president. Then Barack Obama was 2 terms. All they did to her was to give her a Senate seat and a Secretary of State, and she's walking around furious. She's this is not the way it's supposed to be. She's a laughingstock. So she's pissed off. Barack Obama's pissed off. Biden's pissed off. And the best one is George Clooney. George Clooney, not that it matters. They said, listen, George, we want you to come out and double cross Biden. Stick a knife in his back. Why? Because we just want you to. But that's my friend. Shut up. If you do this, we'll give you the ambassadorship to Italy. All right. Well, guess what happened? Now he's persona non grata. Not only that, they were going to make him a deal where he was going to get a Tony on Broadway and then maybe an Academy Award with this new movie with Brad Pitt. He wants respectability. He's got that marriage to Amal, A-M-A-L, a woman who lives in fear of autocorrect, A-M-A-L. No, Amal. She, get this, she's in the International Court of Justice. She's a human rights lawyer who basically is pro-Palestinian. And AIPAC owns everything in Hollywood and everything else. So they're going to look at her like, who the hell is she? What's going on? So they're trying to tone her down. So it's a mess. It's a mess. Barack's upset. Hillary's upset. George Clooney's upset. Hollywood is falling apart. That's why they're going crazy with this movie Wicked, because at least there's some semblance of something. They're trying to come back a little bit. These liberal lunatics have just destroyed it. We're looking at 2028, by the way, which is going to be Gavin Newsom. That's another story too. I don't want to get too much in the weeds. This is the greatest 4D, 5D chess you can imagine.
All right, we've got about a dozen viewer questions have come in about the pardon. But first, have you seen the news about Elon Musk possibly donating 100 million to the Reform Party here, run by Nigel Farage?
I saw it. Isn't that great?
I love
Farage.
That would change things with freedom of speech, definitely.
I love Farage, because what we're doing right now is, this is the thing. It is, how do I say this? It's the notion of globalism, but for good. In the old days, globalism said, let's take Europe. Let's destroy all of your history, your language, your currency, your cultures, and make it the EU. And destroy everything that makes you special. Every vestige of your heritage and your tradition. Let's just destroy it. Well, what we're doing right now is, wait a minute. We're kind of doing that, but we're saying everybody. There was a great show this years ago called Hawaii Five-0. Was this TV show. And at the end, there was this one guy, the adventure. And this guy, Cam Fong is Chin Ho. He said, we're all in this together, brother. It was this weird Hawaiian thing. Anyway, that's what we are. Hey, UK. Hey, Europe. Hey, Germany. We're all in this together. Elon is like the glue. Who's for free speech? Me. Who's for good food? Me. We're not different. We may look different. We may have accents. We may this. We're all the same. And Elon is this glue that says, wait a minute, free speech? Yeah. We're all against this stupid trans nonsense, the puberty blocking. No, it's garbage. Free speech. Be original. End of war. Keeping money here. Helping up you should worry about Brits and Britons in the UK and not Ukraine or anything else for that matter. Kill the military industrial complex. Kill these neocons. These new world order people. Kill them. This is great. We're going to end up, basically, I hope one day, abolishing political parties. What the hell is a political party? Do you go to a movie based upon your party? Do you go to restaurants? You have a party. You might have a preference. Parties completely destroy the very fabric of common sense, as though there are diametrically opposed ideas as to freedom and governance. Oh, the happy days are here again. Praise God in the name of Jesus.
Clabwoo wants to know, shouldn't there be a bill to prevent sitting presidents from implementing pardons towards family members?
No, because the Constitution doesn't say anything about it. In fact, this is a good question. The Constitution says nothing about pardoning yourself. I'm going to be doing a newsletter, a new one on that one. There's nothing about this at all. By the way, in American law, and I'm sure it's the same for British jurisprudence, whenever somebody asks you a question, the answer always is, it depends. No matter what the question is, it depends. Can you pardon yourself? And in our Constitution, if it says you can't do it, there is nothing. For example, I don't know if you're a hockey fan, but is there any rule in hockey that can prevent a 600-pound man from coming up and sitting right in front of the net, just sitting there, and no puck can get past him? No. Is that illegal? No, it's just not contemplated. That's what this is.
Daniel wants to know, is it correct that Hunter cannot claim the fifth now?
It depends. I'm doing it again. The thing about a pardon is sometimes you have to almost admit that there's something to be pardoned for. And the Fifth Amendment, I don't think you ever waive that. I mean, you can waive it, but for him, could he be forced to testify against, let's say, his father or somebody? Oh, yeah. Could he take the Fifth Amendment? I don't know why they granted him a pardon. He can't be sure, but the pardon ended today. In the United States, if somebody came to you and said to me, listen, they're asking me whether they want to question me about what I know about the Kennedy assassination, I'm going to say, take the Fifth. They said, no, you don't understand. First of all, I wasn't born then in 1963. Maybe you were, but I wasn't in this country, and I was clearly, take the Fifth. No, you don't understand. I don't take the Fifth, because they bring you in on day one, and they bring you on day two. And if the day two testimony is different than the day one testimony, they get you for perjury. So you just don't talk to these people. So you're always the Fifth Amendment. Now, if they say, we're going to immunize you, we're going to grant you immunity, we're going to give you complete and total use immunity, even then. So the answer is no, nobody's going to be fully divested of this. The question is, what does this do for Joe Biden? If Joe Biden walks out, and that's it, at January the 20th, when he walks in and says, thank you, and Donald is yours, and they say, you're under arrest, and they charge him for whatever it is, that'll be tough, because we're not sure whether a president, in this new Supreme Court case that we had, whether the immunity, executive privilege and immunity, we're not sure what it is that he did. If you mentioned his being involved in blood activities and the like, that might just be called being a president. But if he bribed, if he conspired with members of his family to subvert the tax laws or the laws of this country, who knows? That's why Trump comes in and says, don't worry, I'm going to pardon you.
Question from Trevor. Lionel, great to see you back. Do you think Trump will pardon himself the moment he takes office?
No, he might do it at the end. No reason to start now because he's in office. So no, but there is a question whether you can do it. And the only thing he can't do is he can't pardon himself from being impeached, which kind of makes sense. The main vehicle to remove you have the ability to erase that. No, but knowing him, he says, "Oh, I love this. Sure, I want to tear this up." He'll be 82 years old. F you and the horse you rode in on. I'm going out, but you figure it out. I'm out of here. I'm not playing by any rules. And by the way, one more thing. The best part about Biden, he says the reason why, because I said, are you gonna pardon? Nope. No, is there any chance that you're gonna pardon? Nope. Are you sure? Nope. No, 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 no. And his press secretary, the woman with a bad wig, they ask her, "Are you going to?" Nope, nope. And as sure as they said, they go, "Oh yeah," because he said, "Now wait a minute, things changed because what they're doing is that they're using the system of law against my son, which is what they did to Trump. It's called lawfare. You son of a bitch. That's what they did to him." But and Shaun, he looks at you with a straight face. He's a psychopath. It's like, that's exactly what we did. But he makes it, oh no, but this is different. It's not different. So anyway, I love, believe me, they're going to be waking each other the whole time. They're going to be doing like this and giving each other signals. And you think Bilderberg is good? They're like their own Illuminati. They're going to be going like this and this and this. I got your car.
Quite a few people are asking whether Biden meets the mental faculty requirement to pardon people, whether there is one.
Yes.
He does.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless you are somehow removed from office via the 25th Amendment or something, you are non compos mentis. Unless somebody says you, and by the way, mental, we don't want to even get into the position of even suggesting whether a person is mentally able. What does that mean? Emotionally, spiritually, intellectually? No. He's, believe me, he is fine. He might be. Now, Kamala might have been a different story because she is just retarded. There has never been. We had a president, Woodrow Wilson, who had a stroke, who was incapacitated. And I think his wife rendered, he was better than she was. She might have been not only emotionally, she might be a sot, an inebriate, a crapulous dipsomaniac. Did you see this hostage video that she did the other day? Where she says, "Don't you ever lose your freedom to do your FXO." It sounded like those 4 o'clock in the morning calls to an old girlfriend. "I love you, baby." Who is this? It was bizarre. And next thing you know, she did another video with her husband in the same clothes. This is embarrassing.
Just let me announce the results of the poll that we did today. We did 2,000 people almost voted on YouTube. Is Hunter Biden's pardon for justice? And 8% said yes, justice was served. And 89% said no, he shouldn't be above the law. And 3% said other.
A pardon is nothing to do with being above the law. Donald Trump, you know who Jared Kushner is, right? Jared Kushner is married to Ivanka. Okay? And Ivanka's mother was Ivana. Are these clever people? Ivana, Ivanka. Okay. There's Shaun and my son Shaun. It's like, could you have maybe come up with Jerry or something? In any event, Jared Kushner's father, did you ever hear that story? He was pardoned. And he was pardoned and he was charged with trying to set up a prostitute with his. Anyway, he did his time and he made a mistake and he's on the straight and narrow now. And that's precisely what a pardon is. That's what you do. You broke you pardon people who've done something wrong. Is justice served? No. If I said to you, Shaun, I'm going to pardon you. For what? No, I didn't do anything. There's no such thing as pardoning somebody. So with all due respect to your wonderful clientele, your listenership, everybody has been found guilty. The question is, would you have respected Biden if he said, "No, I'm not going to pardon my son"? And did they go after him? Yes. And did they give him a hard time? Yeah. Not the only one, but of course they did. I don't know what your laws are in the UK as far as guns. You probably don't even have any ability. But in our country, we have these things called red flag laws. And they sound great. Like, well, if a family member can say that maybe, Shaun's acting a little up. He's a little depressed. He's been drinking a little heavy, and a little mental health problems will temporarily take your ability to possess a firearm, which is provided for by the Second Amendment. Not because we're going to, but because he's just like, who knows? Maybe you're a vet. Maybe you came back. Maybe you attempted self-harm. And we said, oh, no. No, we're not going to give you any chance whatsoever to come up with an exception to this. So what did they do to Biden? They said he violated a federal law because when he signed for his pistol permit or his gun license, they said, are you currently under the influence or addicted to any drugs? And he said, no. And they said, aha, you lied. Guess what he did? He came to people like me who believe in the Second Amendment and a bunch of conservative types, of which I am not, but others. And basically, he used our argument. You can't, there's no condition to a constitutional right. It's like, Your Honor, we're going to ask that you suspend Mr. Attwood's ability to speak freely temporarily because you see he's exhibiting examples of non-compos mentis, and you see it might just until he gets a clearance. Well, who clears him? We'll clear him. No. It may sound good, but I don't give you any ability. This isn't a driver's license. Free speech is a right. A privilege is one thing. You can say, well, maybe he can't drive, he can't see, something, but not this. So, interestingly enough, a lot of people who are on Hunter's side are people from my side of the aisle, and they say, yeah, you're singling this person out. So he's absolutely correct. And you see, remember, Shaun, the hardest thing to do is to be fair. I'm fair. If there's something that's right, if you're right, I don't care who you are. I'll say you're right. He's got a point. He's absolutely correct. Or sometimes President Trump is wrong and has been wrong. He's wrong with a lot of things, but that's the way it goes. But I'm going to say it. I'm not like one of these Fox News people who, just this ridiculous obeisance that they have to everything that's Trump. So that may have confused the issue.
Did you ever look at the people that Bill Clinton pardoned?
Oh, Mark Rich. Mark Rich at the last minute. I think it was the last. This guy was a fugitive. I mean, there was and his wife Denise Rich was a big fundraiser, and I think Eric Holder was the one who actually signed. Yep. Eric Holder. They couldn't get anybody to sign off on this pardon. And for Mark Rich, nobody. But Eric Holder, who eventually became the Attorney General. So, But listen.
He pardoned his half brother Roger, who was buying the white powder. And when he was buying it, he said to the cop, some of this is for Bill. He's got a nose like a vacuum cleaner.
But again, do you have that right or not? And I met him. He was a hell of a nice guy. I mean, the thing is that do you have the right to pardon? You're going to be pardoning despicable people. It doesn't say pardon nice people who, I like when they pardon people who've been dead. We're going to clear Jesse James, from 300 years. That doesn't do any good. So listen, I've got no problem with that. You see, Shaun, you got to understand something. I don't have any belief in the morality or the wisdom of human beings. I hate most people. I expect nothing. Dogs and animals are true. They will tell you. There are very few humans, my wife notwithstanding, but very few humans where I can really trust. Humans just do. They're despicable. They're horrible. Look at what we're doing. Look at what we do, how we kill people. There are people, little kids in Gaza I don't give a damn what happened on October the 7th. This has nothing to do. What are you doing? And I'm walking around. Is it me? Am I crazy? Maybe it's me. Do you ever think like that? Maybe I just don't get it. Maybe I'm from another planet. Maybe I lack some ability to appreciate this psychopathy which poses as politics.
But when you get thusly disheartened, doesn't it lead to, is it, how do you pronounce it? Nihilism. Nihilism.
You know, the idea of having a name for nothing, I think kind of says it all, because I believe in, to use this term, I think has been overused, and thanks to John Mearsheimer, I'm just a realist. I know what people do. I know what it's like when you have when your son, he'll take something. He doesn't understand what he's doing. You say, hey, that's mine. Mine, yours. What the hell are you talking about? I want that. That's a thing. I want to eat it. And people are like that. We pretend. Look at Keir Starmer. Look at your people. He's walking around now saying, I think that perhaps maybe there may have been a problem with a lot of people tearing across the border. You just figure you're what? Trudeau in Canada. Everybody now is acting like, well, this is wrong. Where have you been? What happened? Because I'm losing. That's what happened.
When I saw Keir Starmer slobbering all over Biden, begging to fire long-range missiles into Russia, that was his true colors right there.
I told you Jacob Rees-Mogg is my favorite. There's a documentary or something on him. He's my favorite because he is just. If you called him up at 3:00 in the morning, do you think he would sound like that? Probably not. But he's pretentious and funny because he's like that. But there's something really there. It's like Trump. Trump will say, don't let me fool you. There's something here. I'm legit. I may have fun. I may say some crazy things, but I'm true blue. And it's very difficult for you to find things that he says where you're absolutely 100% against. But starting with this, there is nobody who can explain to me how illegals pouring over a border with unaccompanied children, little kids, 500,000, 1 million who are lost, turned over to trafficking cartels. I have to explain this to you. And we have people in our country, like, their names, Mayorkas and others, who sit there and they're psychopaths. They look you in the eye. They have no sense of shame, nothing. Anthony Fauci, how that son of a bitch isn't in prison. I don't understand it. Do you know what they made the world go through? And when we do stuff, the world follows. I will never, ever, and I'm careful what I'm saying now, I will never, ever be able to understand how we did this. There is nothing at all special about the human condition. We have turned our back on humanity and common sense throughout history. We don't learn from anything. We are devoid of any kind of common sense. We are the most stupid people. I don't know if you see this, but I'm still seeing people driving around in cars with a mask. I don't or walking around with a mask under their chin, like it's a part of a. Do you maybe this is just us, and I want to take these people, take them to a medical school, sedate them, and investigate the part of their brain that allows them not to understand that you don't need to wear a mask in a car by yourself. You just, it doesn't make any sense. It's like leaving the cast on after your leg has mended. I don't understand it.
You'll people see they have the same brain size as lemmings. So Craig Dunn is asking, will Fauci be pardoned by Biden next?
I hope to God no. Something tells me that Biden is going to be secretly one of us. And I think he realizes that Fauci, is one of them. It's us and them. There are the good guys and there are the bad guys. There are the people who are responsible for. Look, I don't even know where you want to go, but they're actually right now still talking about. Just for a second, just when I think, because in this country you go crazy, but I have such admiration for the cool that Vladimir Putin has been able to maintain with all that's going on. And he does this new thing. He says, I have something new for you. What is it? It's a hypersonic. What is it? Watch this. What's that? It's this kinetic thing that looks like lightning. It's not nuclear. I'm just going to take out half everything. It's just kinetic. Force equals mass times acceleration. I'm going to take this mass and I'm going to go, I don't know, 30,000 miles an hour. What? I'm going to forget the notion of nuclear. There's no nuclear. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to do that. By the way, remember, thermonuclear bombs they're not fissile, so you don't have that fallout. The new bombs, new thermonuclears, they just destroy everything. But there's no, don't worry. Good news, folks. There's no radiation. There's just complete devastation. We're seeing this, and I'm thinking, are you watching what he's doing right now? And how about Zelensky, the mass moment? Can I talk to you? No. Listen, I want to talk to you. I just, have you noticed he's desperately trying? How about a ceasefire? Ceasefire? No. See, you're not firing anything on us. No, I'm the ceasefire. You're not. You've got to be able to fire before you order the cease. And the first thing I say, Mr. Zelensky, yeah, can I ask you a question? Are you the guy who used to play the piano with your pecker? Is that who you are? I just want, just want to make sure, is this who you are? Did you do this? When did you go from dancing like this to being the head? How did this happen? Where did this, Shaun, the bad guys always make the story implausible to make you say, is this really? It's like when they gave the world Gay Mala, this idiot. The first time you heard her, you thought, is this? They always do something to make you question your own sanity. They pick this fool. It's incredible. And I feel so sorry for the Ukrainians. I'm sorry.
Did you see that Joe Rogan declined having him on? I think he's doing the dance of the dying fly right now.
Oh, now did Lex Friedman say? Did Lex Friedman okay that, or did he? I heard something about Lex might be doing this, or
is he okay?
I don't know. No, I'm asking you. I heard somebody suggest he might. I would stay away from that guy. Oh, he is going to stink like a. Joe Rogan. By the way, certain things happen. Elon Musk, Joe Rogan. I don't know if anybody ever saw this coming or how this came about or if they knew this would come about. Because when he gave the, and we always knew he was going to endorse Trump, Dana White, his best friend, come on. But we knew this. But when he did, he made Trump cool. Everybody in this country loved him. Do you know we have in Pennsylvania the Amish? You're familiar with them, with a beard, and they're living in, I don't know, the 12th century. They ride on buggies and they churn their own butter. And I don't know what they do. But we kind of laugh at them, like the Mennonites too. I don't know what's one, but they always have the beard. And they're in the buggies and, they're living. And we kind of say, well, guess what happened? They turned over Pennsylvania. They came out of nowhere. And Trump won the Amish. Now, what these poor bastards are going through, listen to this. They just want to sell raw milk and things like that. The FDA, the government was like SWAT teams on these peaceful people. Well, they said, you know what? We're not going to forget this. The Amish came out in it's incredible. Black people in the United States, the black barber shop is the focal point of the African American urban. It's where the men go, and and they love Trump. He went there. He shows up at a McDonald's and they shut down the city, even though they said, listen, you can't go to that McDonald's. It's not that it's an act, but don't, you can't go there. The people of Pennsylvania said, we don't care. Maybe we'll just see him. People waited 2 days to see him at a rally. And they didn't pay. They had to wait overnight. At Madison Square Garden here in New York, where I am, they waited days. And I'm thinking to myself, is this New York? There were people standing outside with MAGA hats and everything that you can imagine. Black, white, gay, Asian. I'm telling you, we've never seen anything like this. He destroyed these borders, these people, and it's spread throughout. He also has, you see the YMCA thing, right? The YMCA dance they're doing, which is this gay bathhouse. Okay, fine. Nothing wrong with that. But of all the songs, like YMCA, it doesn't matter. Everybody is loving it because it's like the shibboleth. It's this mantra.
Going back to what you were talking about Ukraine. So you got these crackpots talking about giving Ukraine nukes to fire into Russia now. What do you think of that?
You have to say, I don't even know. Where do you start? Where do you start? Do you think that if there was a phone call between Zelensky and Putin, and if he says, "Listen, Vlad, wait, listen, this is listen, these crazy bastards want me to get nukes. So what can we do to make them think that maybe we're serious? I'll tell you what, take the nukes, threaten me. I'll know it's a joke, and I'll threaten you. And let's see if they say, and I'm going to send the first one to Brussels, right there. That's where I'm going to send it, not to Ukraine. What will it take? What do you know who Victoria Nuland is? You know who these people are? She is the undersecretary. She's basically a war hawk, a war profiteer. Her husband is the Kagans and the Institute for the Study of War, and these are the hawks, and they love NATO. And NATO is basically a franchise. And if there's no Russia, there's no NATO. So if you and I are in NATO, it's like we talked about last time, it's like a chippy franchise. You got to buy our supplies, our weapons, so that we can protect you from Russia. And Russia's thinking, I don't want you. So they're lured into this. And we've already been through this after. In fact, there's a great piece where Jeffrey Sachs went through this and how they lied to Gorbachev. Anyway, we know about this. But the problem that I have in my country, the people who watch that stupid Fox News believe that Putin somehow wants to reform the Soviet Union and wants to take Poland back. And if I say, he had this great line. Putin said, anybody who doesn't miss the Soviet Union doesn't have a heart. Anybody who wants to go back doesn't have a brain. They really believe this stuff.
They're trying to goad Putin, I think, into dropping
Yes.
hypersonic on some NATO facility in Poland so they can say, look, we told you, he's attacking Poland now. He's Hitler.
Well, this is the Gleiwitz. This is what got us into what Hitler did. The Polish, remember the radio station, the Gleiwitz incident. They'll do a false flag. They'll do something easy. What I'm worried about here, because I always put myself in the position. We have people here in this country who believe that Iran sponsors everything. Iran is the
octopus.
Pardon me?
They say Iran's the octopus.
Yes. And it also, right, it's everything. It's everything. When I was a kid, I was raised in the South in Florida. We had these guys who talk like this.
Yes.
And one guy I knew, he would talk like this. He goes, let me tell you something. If you're going to go to that carnival, I want you boys to be careful. What is it, Uncle Dave? You better watch out for them morphodites. I said, a what? The morphodites. I said, a morphodite? You mean a hermaphrodite? No, a morphodite. Watch out for them. See a 13-year-old boy like you, next thing they're all over you. I said, who are they? And I never found out. But that was his word. So that was the fill in the blank for any bad guy with a morphodite. They're going to get you. So we have these evil people. Remember after 9/11, they said, why did they do this? They hate our freedom. Who? They. Who were they? I don't know. And we went through this because we were so upset with 9/11, we were to go anyplace else. So the question is, what I worry about is if I worked for, if let's say I was a unscrupulous person, I'd have a false flag so fast, and I'd say, courtesy of Hezbollah, I'd detonate something in the middle of, I don't know what, Piccadilly Circus, the Holland Tunnel, Las Vegas, someplace. And you would say, see, everybody would get upset. This is Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution, you know. Do something, keep us safe. Okay, we'll do it. See what we mean? You're right about Iran. See what I told you? You're right about them. How they've been able to maintain their cool after their embassies have been bombed? That is an act of war. I don't understand this. And Shaun, there are people in my country here who hate Iran. I'm saying, what have they done? In 1953, we had Operation Ajax, where we went, and Mossadegh was the democratically elected leader. And we said, oh, no, because he was a nationalized oil. And we put in this Shah, Mossadegh. We did it. Kermit Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt's son or whatever, we did this. In 1979, with the hostage situation, they said, we've had enough of this. You have a CIA center here called the embassy. Did you ever hear the story where they shredded everything? They shredded all the documents. So the Iranians said, we got all these kids together. We said, listen, everybody put these together. Here's a puzzle. And they reattached. I don't know how they did it. Thousands of pounds of this stuff, and they're reading. And I thought, how can they not hate us? How? I don't understand this.
And then I visited Arizona when I was a teenager, and the Shah was living in Paradise Valley. The Shah of Iran.
But also, there were people who, some people liked the Shah. Not everybody liked a theocratic. Remember during the Shah when they had all the women had nose jobs, they bleached their skin. They wanted to become westernized. Let me tell you something. What I would do is I'd love to go in and I want to work under psyops. I want to go in and I want to breed revolution, not cause it, breed it. Can I tell you what's going to happen here in my country? What I want to do if Trump is smart, but I don't think they're going to do it because I don't think they're that evil. See, what I want to do is I don't worry about the Republican Party. I want to destroy the Democratic Party. And I don't want to do it in any way violently. I want to go in and there's a woman named Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC. And she is this young, she just turned 35. She's kind of a lefty. She was a Bernie fan. And people think she's dumb. She's smart as a whip. And the Democrats hate her. Nancy Pelosi hates her because she's this leftist, they call the squad, very pro Palestinian, pro Bernie Sanders, leftist, progressive, democratic, socialist. Good. She is the natural enemy. It's like releasing a fly or a mosquito that's neutered. She destroys the other faction of the Democratic Party, which is more conservative, Nancy Pelosi, those people. So I want to help her out. And I want to have Elon secretly fund her, promote her, make her big, kind of the way Israel created Hamas to get after Fatah and Arafat. Sometimes it blows up in your face, but the idea is that you create this counterbalance. And then I want there to be complete and total disharmony in the Democratic Party. The Republicans, Trump's party, everybody gets along. Everybody is just. There's no dissent. None. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, it's really scary. And I want this to spread around the world, because this liberalism, it's the wrong term. Whatever this version is, it's a mental disease. It's a psychopathy. It's not real. It's not a political. There are people who want to do things just to disrupt stuff. They want to take your beloved son, and if he one day is in school and says, sometimes I feel maybe like a girl. That's it. He's gone. Next thing you know, your kid's gone. You come home and you say, where's Ziggy? There's a note from school. He says that you're keeping him from identifying with his true self. Therefore, we've taken him away from you. This happens all the time. This is what these bastards want. Got to put an end to that.
You're getting asked if you think the security cameras being turned off across London the other day could possibly be a precursor to a false flag incident that could be blamed on Iran or Russia.
Well, what do you think? Does that logically make sense if it were to happen? The answer is yes.
Well, look what happened to Jeffrey.
So,
Jeffrey's cameras went off, didn't they?
Well, that's a different story.
But the same chain of events.
well, they didn't go off. They were on the tapes or whatever, the recordings. They were seized. See, I think, by the way, that is nothing. Now, watch this segue. Watch this, Attwood. Watch this. Nothing compared to Diddy. Diddy will bring everything down because they're cannibalizing themselves. Have you noticed this? They're coming out of the floor. They're like ferrets and just. And I saw and this one's trying to get ahead. And I know Diddy, and I told you, and I warned you. And what about this? And Shug and blah, blah, blah. Epstein's like, Jeffrey rather is quiet. It's kind of like just quiet. Somebody has no problem. We just to remind you, we have them. It's very, very quick. We had him, but this is going to destroy rap, black entertainment. It's like what crack did to the inner city. They're going to cannibalize each other. And nobody knows they don't even know who they're upset with. What's wrong? Have you noticed this? They're so angry. And then you get these people who want to be the influencers. They're doing everything they can. Well, I've got to say something even more outrageous than the others. And pretty soon it's just nuts. And the best part is Diddy said, Diddy, do you want to get on? I said, no, I think I'll stay here. It's a little bit safer here. Diddy doesn't have to threaten anybody. Just let him talk. I've never seen if you can follow all of the players and all of the accusations, good for you. If we had one of those, you know how they have the red string and then we're in the like MI6 and you see Diddy's here and then here we have Cassie and Shug and over here. And it's just this, who's going to rat out? Is it how you can keep track of that? I have no idea.
What did you think about Elon's tweet calling for the release of the Diddy and the Epstein lists?
Oh, well, interesting. He is a shisa thrower. He is just having fun. He's just having so much fun. I keep saying, I don't want the list. I want the videos. What is with you in this list in this black book? Do you not understand what this is about? Who cares about that? I don't care about that. I don't care about the black book.
Does Lionel think Trump is going to make things better?
Absolutely.
I beg to differ.
That's okay. One of the things which we need, this is important, is we need a cataclysm. Here in New York, in the Lower East Side, there was a place called CBGB's. It's this little nondescript place. And who shows up there? The Ramones, Talking Heads, Blondie, changed music. There was another confluence of this Pistols and it. People said, I didn't like that music. It doesn't matter. It shook everything up, and you need this. You need to be this cataclysm. Trump has made, name one politician anywhere that has made politics or gets as much attention as Trump. Anybody? Who? Tony Blair, Georgia Maloney, maybe Mussolini. I mean, I'm serious. I don't know anybody who has done this much to make this cool. And people love it. You have no idea. You mentioned TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. I have friends of mine. I've lost friends. I have lost. And I think, good. I don't need them anyway. But they hate him. And their whole politics is hating Trump. They don't have any position. Well, what do you think? You see what Trump did today? Well, what do you want? Are you going to vote for Gay Mala? I'll vote for anybody but that son of a... Yeah, okay, fine. But what is your worldview? Anybody but Trump. Yeah, I got that. But what do you want? I mean, I don't know, but it's you have no idea. There are people who just lose their minds. And you ever watch Lefties Losing It on Sky with they have these just kind of a compilation, Sky out of Australia. It's called Lefties Losing. Anyway, we have the last vestiges of these people, the Rachel Maddows and others, who just don't have anything anymore. And we watch them in amusement. Remember when this is before your time, but remember when I was a kid, Carnaby Street was this like the mods, and it was the what were they called? The Teddy Boys before that. But anyway, there were the mods and Carnaby Street and psychedelic. And then it got stupid. You notice that? All of a sudden they said, okay, that's not funny anymore. That's stupid. What? No, we don't do that anymore. You don't? Bell bottoms. Hey, those are cool. We don't do that anymore. Disco. That was great. We don't do that anymore. Really? No. Long hair, Beatle haircuts. Don't do that anymore. Goth, spiked hair. Don't do that anymore. Certain things just run out. And when you want to catch them, it's like the Japanese soldier who didn't know the war was over and they had to come in personally. That's these people. It's like you've lost. You're hanging on to something. You're singing a song. It's over. Disco's dead. You're on AM. We're not even on FM. They don't know what to do. They're stuck. And I love them because you got to understand, Shaun, I'm a first class prick. I call these people up and I always say, how does it feel? Does it feel? Everything about your life is over. We've won. And they just, and because I'm terrible. I'm an awful, terrible person. And it's schadenfreude, like it's sadism, because I hate these people. They made me go through hell, and I'm not going to go through what we went through, but I'll never forget that. And so, but remember, it's not over with yet, because these bastards are sitting back waiting. It's like, we're not going anywhere. Wait till you see round 2 of this stuff. I think you know what I'm talking about.
There's always going to be Luddites and dim-witted anachronisms.
More for that.
Do you find it funny that years ago all the libs wanted peace and less government?
Yes.
And now it's the Trump people wanting that, while the libs want war and more government.
Yes.
Let's bomb.
When I was a kid, see, I'm 66, so I was born in 58. So when I was a kid, like I was 11 years old, it was 1969, and it was was Woodstock and the Vietnam War. Really, the 70s were really the 60s. And so we were, I was anti-war, and we had great music, and we're for women's rights, gay rights, civil rights, and the liberals, they weren't even called liberals. They kind of won. They won. There's no war. So then they say, well, now what do we do? And then there was the quote angry white guy. This was the guy who came around. Rush Limbaugh felt completely left out, tired of this stuff. Affirmative action. Remember the word PC, politically correct? Remember how quaint that was? Quaint. This is before pronouns. Well, anyway, all of a sudden, these folks, for the longest time, because the pendulum, of course, swings, but sometimes it comes back like a wrecking ball. Well, now we're kind of saying, well, we're rational. Think about what we want. What do we want? No war. Leave me alone. I want to say what I want. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt my kids. Don't invade my border. I don't want crime. This isn't a party. This is a default. This is a no shisa type of like, well, yeah, of course. That's the way it is. The left became, I don't know what happened. Then came Trump. Now, what happened was, if I said, okay, Shaun, this is diazepam. This is a benzodiazepine. This is like a Valium. Okay. It's pretty, try it. It's okay. Okay. Now take this with a shot of this. The alcohol will potentiate this. Boom. That's what Trump did. Trump came in and just like, he shook it up like a cocktail and it exploded. And he went into people and activated parts of their psyche they never were there. Can you imagine the first person who ever discovered fermenting stuff made you drunk? He probably said, you're not going to believe this. This stuff, it smells like, I know it smells bad. Drink this. Isn't that weird? Yeah. I think I can mimic this. I didn't know we could do this. I didn't know what getting drunk meant until I tried this. And I like it. That's what Trump did. He enacted or activated or potentiated the part of the brain, this atavistic weird thing where people just went crazy and it satisfied them. And here's the best part. You know who hates him? White women. And the people that are, I've got a friend of mine who was in the comedy world. He said, white women, unmarried. You know the line that J.D. Vance said about the cat ladies, unmarried, childless? I know you're not supposed to say that, but look at the people who were I don't know if you have them, the people who sit in the front seat of their car screaming and yelling. So women. Something happened to women. I don't know men like this. The people who are screaming, cutting their hair, just, I don't understand where they came from, but it's really affected, I hate to say it, women. And the people who were the most TDS crazed here, the lunatics. You can go through all of the TV stations here. Rachel Maddow, Joy Reid, The View. I don't know if you know who these people are, but they're all women. And they're all crazy. Nuts. Crazy. Something happened. It's like, I don't know what and when you say this, oh, you're a sexist. No, I'm just observant.
All right, next question. With the pardon of Biden, Trump should bring back Gates, even though Gates stepped out of Congress and he has only been accused of these things. What does Lionel think Gates' next move will be?
He'll probably run for governor of Florida or senator. You know, the easy money says Gates is a problem. Gates has this, the talk about 17-year-olds, and I say, good. Not that that's a good thing, but If it drives people crazy, good. He's smart. He knows what he's talking about. Nobody cared about what Hunter Biden was doing. I know he's not an elected official, but when he was with hookers and doing crack pipe, and God knows what's on those tapes, God knows what's on his laptop, and God knows what he did with members of his own family. Who knows? But nobody seemed to care about that. So the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So I think he will be terrific. They're going to go after Pete Hegseth too from Fox, whatever. They're going to claim that. Good, bring him on. Anybody else that drives you crazy? Yeah, bring him on. I don't care. I want to drive these people crazy. And if these people are competent and good and know what they're talking about, all the better. We have this fellow Kash Patel, head of the FBI. Oh my God, this is heaven. Bhattacharya for NIH and CDC. Oh my God. Bobby Kennedy Jr. Oh, see, those are people. I know we can't talk about it, but we can think it. You see, Shaun, there's a whole bunch of people out there who really want to see vindication regarding that dark part of our life. They can't wait for this. And it's just begun.
Okay, so question from Abundantly. Lionel, what are your thoughts on the World Economic Forum's Agenda 2030, where we will own nothing and love it?
First of all, this is Klaus Schwab, and this is an underestimation of it. It's World Economic Forum, but it was also, this is Agenda 2030, Agenda 21. There was also something called Codex Alimentarius. There were all of these weird theories. Let me see if I can explain globalism. And let me also predict one day you will see a resurgence of Alex Jones. He will be given his place in the sun, because if he can learn, I think he looks like he's getting more in shape and getting back to normal. He was the godfather of much of what we're doing right now. He set us off into a world. Was that?
Do you see him behind me?
Do I see? Oh, yes. I was on his show many times. He's learned a lot. And what I hope happens is I hope everybody says, okay, are you done with him? Good. And you're done with this particular court case? Good. And the bankruptcy? Good. Doesn't owe any money? Yeah, we're all done. We're all clear here? Okay, good. Then Elon says, boom. And we don't need him on whatever. He's on X, or he's on whatever it is.
And he's getting 10 million on his lives.
He's better than... Did I think I told you the story. One time I introduced him to a group of people at this talkers convention, this talk radio convention. And they thought he was crazy. I said, there's one thing about Alex Jones, which is terrific. He doesn't just give you an opinion. He shows you, this is where I got it from. This is where I'm thinking. He was talking about things. I came along. Remember when my red pill came, was on that Tuesday morning on the 11th day of September, 23 years ago. My whole world changed. And he made me say, I remember thinking, it was like they turned the light on. And I said, do you mean, oh my, and I remember this. Everybody goes through this when you can't sleep, when you realize, oh my God, because you kind of knew there were bad people, but you didn't know how bad they were. I'm sure there were people generations before me, World War II, they saw this too, but that was my thing. And Alex was there from the get-go. And then it changed me. Absolutely changed me. So he's coming back. And there are more of us. And what Joe Rogan is doing, he's basically talking about the subject, Shaun, that you and I couldn't talk about. Now it's and I can't think of any particular reason why. I think I've asked you this. What do you wish you didn't know? What do you wish you didn't know? What information is so bad? Misinformation, disinformation. What are you talking about? I listen, I don't want to tell people what to do, okay? But I happen to be very, very concerned about eating. And I think what we eat kills us. And years ago, I was part like everybody else. There was a thing called the Atkins diet, and there was the Scarsdale diet, and there was the ketosis and everything, and eat fat, and okay, fine. Until you realize that we're looking at, basically in my country here, about 500,000 to 700,000 heart attacks every year, and it's not being done by people eating kale. And anybody who thinks that you can eat basically beef tallow all day long with your LDL levels going through the roof, if you don't think, all right, I'm telling you, do you know that in the Korean War, it was interesting, the Korean War, it was the first time they had a chance to really look and inspect bodies, young men, and they noticed actual naked gross changes to coronary arteries by virtue of autopsies. This is 1950. Vietnam, oh my God. Kids right now, fatty streaks. We're seeing lipid levels through the roof. And it's not because of, anyway, make a long story. I don't want to get into this because people go nuts because they'll go crazy arguing that eating nothing but beef, and I love it, but that you're better off and that whoa. Anyway, make a long story short. Now, if I vehemently disagree with that, and I do, I don't want you to not be able to say that. I don't want there to be a tag under you. Excuse me, the cardiology. No, say it. Suzanne Summers, one time she had her cancer. She says, and I'm doing fruit juice. What are you talking about? That's nuts. Say it. But it'll kill people. Buyer beware. If you want to say, I smoke cigarettes and I think vaping's cool and vaping, say it. I don't care. Say whatever you want. Let me dissuade you. Let me counter that. But I don't tell you to stop saying it. Don't get me started on religion. I'm hearing stuff that's crazy. Say it. Whatever you want. If I don't like it, I go someplace else. You're entitled to say. Nothing you can say has ever hurt me. Nothing. I don't care about your sexual. Don't hurt children. Don't. Let me tell you something else. I think we talked about this before. I'm getting very scared. The other day I saw something where AI is going to change everything. And there are people right now who are saying that if I put an AI, something of Shaun Attwood saying something or doing something, and it's not you, and it's clearly AI, what is that called? I think it's like defamatory, maybe. The law lags behind technology. And what if I'm able to one day say, God, I know this is a terrible subject, but let's say I'm a really unscrupulous child predator. And I say, I'm getting tired of this. All the time I have to get a child facing years in prison. I'm just going to have the best AI stuff you've ever seen. That'll make your hair curl. And in your case, that will be saying a lot, but it's not real. Is the government going to say you can't do that? Why? Because we don't like the idea, but that's a thought, but it's a sick thought. Well, let me determine if it's a sick thought. These are things which we are not ready to handle because we don't have the intellectual capacity or the love of critical thinking to really go through it. But that scares me because in as much as I think that's despicable stuff, I don't want you to not be able to speak or to think even a despicable idea if it's just a thought. Because when Nabokov wrote Lolita, or when Lot's daughters were doing this in the Bible, that was a thought or whatever it was. So I'm an absolutist. You can say anything, just so long as you're not, inciting, defamatory per se in the usual prescription. That's not over with. And I hope President Trump, I don't know. I hope he holds I think Elon's on my side. I hope. That's the number one concern.
All right. We've only got about 30 minutes left, and there's almost 40 questions outstanding.
Let's just go to questions.
Tapio, Lionel, what do you think about Roger Stone and Alex Jones working for the government to further the Vladislav Surkov style to a polarization dialectic?
That's easy for you to say.
Can you rephrase that in layman's terms, please? The question.
I'm not sure. Roger Stone and Alex, Roger Stone is
I learned a
he
lot
is
from him about the Clintons, the Roger Stone. I've got his books.
listen, he is he has been around. He used to work with a guy named Lee Atwater. He is Roger Stone. You don't want him as your enemy. He's a real character, a real bon vivant. What they did to him at that 4:00 in the morning ninja raid is horrible. So anyway, he and Alex working together. As we say, I'll get back with you on the Vladislav Surkov style 2A polarization dialectic. I'll wait for their new album.
Hasn't Roger Stone got Nixon tattooed on his back?
Yep. little extreme, but hey, listen.
Anything to add to this, or do you want me to go on to the next question?
Let's just go through the questions. I like these.
All right. What are your thoughts on Jordan Maxwell?
I don't know offhand. Should I have what do you think? What's
Let's just keep going to get through these. All right. Do you believe Trump when he said he didn't look at the JFK files under advice, it would upset him? Joe Rogan podcast.
No, of course not. First of all, there's nothing in the files. There's nothing in the files. There's nothing in there. There is nothing that he is going to see that is going to have a picture of something that is in a file. Nothing is there. The people who are responsible for JFK are dead. Why don't we talk about Bobby Kennedy? Why don't we talk about that? Why isn't Bobby Kennedy's son, Bobby Kennedy, going through that? We know the shooter. I mean, he's talked about that. I don't get that.
Is Hunter's laptop as bad as Weiner's?
Okay, Anthony Weiner's laptop. They've always talked about this Anthony Weiner's laptop. Remember the story about this? I don't want to get too much into detail about the famous, Hillary Clinton and Huma and these, it's like a face off to Look, I've heard about this story. I've heard it a million times. Where is it? Please. It's almost this, of all the stories that need to be looked into, especially whoever was involved allegedly in this particular activity. I don't want to go into some other stuff.
Yeah, let's get off it. Let's get off it. Okay. Yeah. Next question. How does the CIA purchase weapons for war without Congress consenting to the purchase for overseas conflicts? Well, Iran-Contra is a good example of that.
Easy. National security interest, exceptions, top secret. Oh yeah, this is a joke. Do you want it? And by the way, is there anything that we truly want in terms of a war that has nothing to do with war profiteering? Is there anything that is merely an ideological? Let me give you an example of something. In 2005 maybe, there was, I think, in the Congo or something along those lines, they had these men or these soldiers who would violate women by virtue of different things. I don't want to go into specifics, but it was horrible. It was the most incredible thing anybody's ever seen. They were suffering from fistulas, and it was this, and it was so. Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, they could have stopped this. Women being violated. Again, I've got to be careful of the language. And nobody did anything until somebody said one time, what is their main export? I think it was like, I don't know, chocolate or something. And I said, this is the chance where me actively recommend military action to go in there, drop a couple of Apache helicopters into the village and say, that's enough. That's enough. Nobody did anything. They didn't do anything. And these poor women, American doctors had to go over there to help women with fistulas. These women who were incontinent and had to, it was the most, and I'm saying, somebody do something. Women's groups, women's issue, nobody cared, nothing. Because if you don't make money, CIA doesn't want to send weapons just to send weapons. They want the money. Do you know how expensive these things are? You just turn one round of anything, one JDAM, just turning on an aircraft carrier, figuratively, the logistics, it's all money. And we all know this. It has nothing to do with ideology. Nothing.
Just one Halliburton banana in the military chow hall was billed to the taxpayers for $50. So Alejandro wants to know what happened to Oliver North.
I don't know. Where did they go? Remember Fawn Hall and the gate he was going to build, and I don't know. They just, we have the attention span of a gnat. These people just go away. They just leave. Oh, Heidi Fleiss.
Heidi Fleiss and her little black book.
I don't know. Another one. There were always, remember, we had the Mayflower Madam. We had, we enjoy these things. We titillate them. Heidi Fleiss. We had the Mayflower Madam. Remember years ago, the Happy Hooker? This was in the 60s. Xaviera Hollander. We used to have here, but did you hear how in Belgium they want to have now pensions for sex workers and maternity leave? Because they're trying to normalize that, because it is the goal one day for sex trafficking or sex tourism. Tourism. Oh, Anthony Bourdain. This story stinks to no end. How is a guy as famous as he was, and there was some talk about he was going to reveal something, I don't know, but how is a guy who, if you recall, he was at this hotel, if memory serves me, 4-star someplace, he was well known, and he's not seen for what, 4 days or whatever it was, and nobody checked, nobody went in, nobody, do you buy this? See, there's a story that doesn't make any sense. Did you remember the story? There was a guy we had here in Las Vegas. It was the sniper. Paddock was his name. Opened fire on these people, and they walked in and they saw the weaponry that he had, the ammo, the cases. There's no way they would have. There's no way you would have. That housekeeping would have said, "Hey, there's a guy here who has ammunition," or he took out a window pane. Anyway, the story stunk from the get-go. Never followed through with it. The Anthony Bourdain story never made any sense. Nobody ever, things don't make sense. It has to do, when you do police work as a prosecutor, normally it takes a cop or somebody to say, this doesn't make any sense. Grandma doesn't leave the light on. We better go check. There's something you see out of the ordinary. It's not proof positive, but it inspires more thought. It's probable cause versus reasonable doubt. We just got tired of that because we're afraid of thinking too much. What about Obama's, what was it, this cook or somebody he had, this guy who worked with him? He drowned like in 3 feet of water or something. All of the people who were around Hillary Clinton and the Clintons who died, Vince Foster, they just don't. What does it take for you to have your curiosity piqued, to have somebody say, now if it were Trump, they'd be all over it. But I don't understand it. You can kill people so easily in this country. Just say, wait a minute, what? What's the matter with you? Nothing. Are you thinking, what's the matter? Or do you think I would be so crazy as to, yeah, I do. Anyway.
Question from Flock. Vance not being so public versus how Musk has been since the election. Is this concerning, or is Vance just hard at work behind the scenes?
Great question, JD Vance. I do not know. Is he feeling jealous? Is he feeling... I don't know. I got the word from somebody. There are various levels of... There's like the internet and the dark internet, and not that guy, but there are these blinds and people who were kind of in the know. And a while back, somebody said, keep an eye on J.D. Vance, and Trump better watch him very carefully, because this guy is not beyond claiming that Trump's crazy. Trump's got 4 more years to go. He's going to be fine. But that's a very good thing. You know what's interesting? Do you watch Fox News? Is Fox News a big story? A big good. Forget it. Because you see, one of the things is what this last viewer or commentator said, which is very good. It's hard to find when things are different. Like, we haven't heard from him in a while. Where's he been? Where's so and so? We haven't. That takes a very unique, skilled person to notice when things are changed, when people are absent.
Sophie's wondering about the CIA having something to do with the rebels attacking Assad. Didn't Obama create ISIS?
Well, yeah, but first of all, let's lose this CIA. I have a story I want to do. In my story, I play the grand old man, kind of like in JFK, the Donald Sutherland character. And you're the young, the agent. And I say to you, son, if there's an organization that you know the name of, it's not the organization. The people who do things don't work in a building. They don't have a card. They don't work for the CIA or whatever it is, or the DNI or military intelligence. They don't have a name. Plausible deniability. They don't work. They're not on a payroll. You can't figure them out. You don't know who these people are. Like with JFK. There's nobody who picked up the phone and said, let's call up our CIA contractors. No, you want to get somebody who gets the job done and that you could probably off immediately afterwards. If you know the name of people, they're not involved. The people who run the world are not Elon Musk and George Soros, because you know who they are. They are consortia of other people, more powerful than these people ever will be. And so we always say CIA. We used to be MI6 all the time. Here in this country, we used to say NSA, National Security Agency. Used to be no such agency was the nickname. We don't talk about them anymore. So we go through these things. So CIA, have you noticed all the people online? I'm an ex-CIA person. This is the way the CIA used to. These are psyops. And who's responsible for that? The CIA, to build up their image about how cool they are. Have you noticed all the military stuff? SEAL Team 6, Delta Force, MI6. Who do you think's behind that? Make military cool again. Get a bunch of people, have a show where people say, I'll never do this again. I killed innocent people. It was the worst thing that ever happened to me. Everybody, you're not going to hear that, because that's not cool. You want some guy with a bunch of tats on to tell war stories. And it's psyop front and center to perpetuate how cool and how great these people. And by the way, we do need intel and we need the military. But if you can't see through this, you're not paying attention.
So is the deep state just trying to trigger war everywhere it can all over the world before Trump gets in?
It's not only that, I call it the shadow government. It's this, see, this is this, the people, do you realize the people who run YouTube, probably 2 people? There's like 1 person, 2 people, 3 people. There used to be this thing about top secret. In Washington, there's about 1 million people with top secret clearances. Doesn't mean anything. There are people who have clearances so high, they don't even have a clearance. They used to have these 5-lettered names, Umbra, Ultra, Zebra. Like 3 people had them. If I work for, let's say, Raytheon or something, and I get a hold of, let's say, God forbid, let's say I get a hold of some interplanetary something or the UAP, EBE, extraterrestrial. Anyway, I find something. You and I might be the only person on the planet who knows this. The president doesn't have access to this. So these idea of security clearances and the way intel works, I don't think it's anything the way people say this. I think it's a few people. And remember, anything you see on TV, do you really think that Victoria Nuland and and NATO and the EU, those are the folks really making the decisions, or somebody who decides, they hold up a paddle and they vote Bilderberg and others. I think that is a Potemkin village, like a movie set. It looks good, but that's not how things are run. In my
What do you think about the movie Eyes Wide Shut?
Loved it. Now, of course, it was very similar. He died shortly thereafter. They have been doing this since the beginning of time. They have been doing the idea of secret societies. Carol Quigley, by the way, Tragedy and Hope, who Bill Clinton's mentor and others, and secret societies since the beginning, since Venetian conspiracies, the Borgias, the papacy, villagers, holy men, shaman, masks, dances. It's in us. We've never lost this. We've been into symbology, semiotics. We have done this since the beginning of time. And we love to do it, especially to the exclusion. Look at the Mardi Gras that we have here. Brazil, Carnival. Look at this. There's something about who we are. So Eyes Wide Shut is a smaller version of this. And we have Yale University has Skull and Bones and the Masons and, that kind of, people love this. So Eyes Wide Shut, absolute template for what goes on. Absolutely.
Sim wants to know, Lionel, do you know anything about the UK being used as a beta test for taking freedom of speech ready for the planned reset?
I don't know anything about it, but I wouldn't be surprised. Look at what happened to Europe with the EU. Got to start someplace. You got to start someplace, and you got to figure out. And I can't believe how much two things happen. You're not fighting back enough, and you're being habituated to it. Habituation is this wonderful thing. When you put on a watch for the first time, you say, this is kind of clunky. Next thing you know, you don't notice it because you habituate, you condition, you become used to the stimulus. It's not novel anymore. And when you keep saying, another story about the poor bastard, and yeah, they arrested him because he posted something. There was a meme that, okay. And at first it's horror. And then it's habituation. And then it's like, well, what are you going to do? That's what I do. I want to wear you down. Learned helplessness. I want to have you become accustomed to your imprisonment. I want you to get tired of it. And you look around and say, well, if nobody's going to say anything, what are you going to do? You don't need to put somebody in jail to imprison them at all. It's like the elephant where you put the chain around its foot and then you tie it to something. And then pretty soon the elephant, you put the chain on it and it swears, I can't move. We are so easily taught and conditioned to just settle down, shut up, and we'll also give you something like social media. And if you don't do this, we'll take this away from you. And people will say, oh, no. Do you ever watch arrest movie? I love to watch arrest videos on YouTube. It's a weird function of mine. I'm demented. But the first thing people say when they get arrested in our country is, give me my phone. Where's my phone? Not I'm under arrest. Not I'm in handcuffs. Where's my phone? I'm serious. Somebody mentioned the moon landing.
Do you think the moon landing was real?
Okay, let me put it to you this way. If they told me it wasn't, I would say, I knew it. So I can't tell you whether it's real because I really don't have anything. But if you told me that there was absolutely nothing to it, that it was contrived, I would say, doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah. How much of it what do you need people to say for you to say, God, that's shadows and no stars? And remember something, I keep telling you what Marshall McLuhan said, little lies are hard to keep secret, but big lies are easy because of your incredulity. The bigger the lie, the more you're going to refute it. Because everybody says something, you're going to be the only one who says, I don't think that happened. One small step for man? What? And one question about that too. If it didn't happen, Putin knows it. With his ass, he and China, Xi Jinping, How do they keep it? How do they sit there and say they're bringing up this moon landing? One of these days, I'm going to show them. I'm going to show them. That's the thing that gets me. It would be the biggest death blow to our pride to have somebody say it didn't happen. This is a joke. It would destroy everything. Why haven't they brought it up?
Will Bernie Sanders switch parties?
Never. You're going to see the emergence of a third party, and you're also going to see the irrelevance of the party system. It's going to completely, it doesn't mean anything because you've got Democrats and Republicans, and MAGA, for lack of a better word, is a party.
Will BRICS dwarf the dollar?
Absolutely. And what's also interesting is what crypto is going to do. They don't even know what, they don't understand that one. They don't get it. They can't, Warren Buffett, he says, well, I don't believe in investing in something I don't understand. Well, you don't have to understand how NASA works for you to invest in space, technology. They don't understand any of this. That's the game changer.
Lionel, when somebody told me about crypto when it was like 50 cents a Bitcoin, I said to them, have you read what Warren Buffett
Right.
says in his book? Don't never invest in something you don't understand.
Well, but you don't, I know. And that's okay for a while, but there are going to be others as well. Remember, don't think like it's crypto. It's not Bitcoin, it's crypto. They're not the only ones. I mean, there are people walking around who, I know people who they've got these numbers. They've got the numbers in like 4 different safes, and they are so afraid. It's like they're panicky. It's like, it's my numbers, got the codes, and I said, I'm worth $20 billion, and they're going crazy. I'm serious. They don't know what to do about this. What do you got? Here's my account. Here's my app, my portfolio. This one is, what do I do? What if I lose the numbers? And I don't know do I keep it here? Do I give you half of the numbers and I keep the other half of the numbers? Really, people are losing their mind.
Was Winston Churchill part of mind control?
With all due respect to my dear friends of the UK, perfide Albion, the perfidy of Albion. This guy was one of the great for you, absolutely probably got us into World War II, screwed us over regarding Pearl Harbor. It goes so far. Edward, who was it, Queen Victoria's son? Was it Edward VII? I forget. That was where it started. Tertius Gaudens, the game theory where you and I are fighting. I bring in a third party. Kind of takes off the lets me rest and lets you go at it. It was critical for, at that time, remember, during the British supremacy was the sea, and it was a different time, but you had to get us into World War II. We had nothing to do with it. We said, you know what? Screw them. Germany, Great Britain, France, they can handle this. We were done with the war to end all wars. Roosevelt says, I'm not going to be siding with a bunch of commies, and I'm not going to make it look like we're fighting over a bunch of Jews. And believe it or not, he said, so you can forget it. Next thing you know, Pearl Harbor. Gee, that was a surprise. Take all our carriers out. Lo and behold. So he was great for you, but he is not the hero to the United States that we think he is.
Why has President Carter been in hospice care for 4 years and is still alive, supposedly?
This is the best hospice care, I guess. You think somebody would say, listen, you've been here too long. You're not dying. You got to go. Did you see when they brought him out to vote? They brought this guy out. Did you see? It was terrible. They brought him out to vote. He was on the stretcher, and his mouth is in this agape, in this frozen rictus. It's just horrible. in order to
Wasn't
show why the Kamala vote was so important.
wasn't still ass grabbing like George Senior. Thank you for your
Yeah.
candle, Lionel. What do you think about South Africa as a component? We are BRICS, but we have the nukes.
Well, it's interesting. South Africa, it's you always say that Brazil and South Africa, Russia, India, China. If you said Rick, that's probably good enough. But Brazil, okay. South Africa, okay. You don't think of the powerhouse, but look how important they are in the indictment and the ICC and ICJ indictment of Israel. That's another story too. Think they know something about apartheid? Think they're a little experienced in that response? See, that's the area where I don't talk about here. But
Last
this is
10
my
minutes.
story.
Last 10 minutes to get your quick fire questions in for Lionel, folks. Pearl wants to know about Lady Di's death.
Let's start off with this question. Do you believe the official story?
No.
Do you believe the official story that Henri Paul, who is it? Was he driving? Henri was driving, and they said he was drunk out of his mind, and he had a point. I saw those pictures of him at that bar where he's just standing there. He didn't look like he was a 0.3 or whatever it was. Mohammed Fayed made a lot of sense. And I think one of the guys that I would always be very distrustful of is Philip. Philip is the last guy. Anybody who says that his goal in life is to come back as a virus, this is one sick son of a gun. In any event, if she were pregnant with Dodi's child, the mother of the future king of England, with a Muslim kid, and Mohammed Fayed's grandson, after the whole Harrods thing, I mean, they're like the last vestige of this way of thinking. Now, I'm just saying that's not good. She really, and with all due respect, she might have been a wonderful person, but she was a loon. Her personal life, what she did, she was very, and probably at the hand of what Charles did, because what she went through was hell. That notwithstanding, I don't buy the original story. I just don't believe it. It just doesn't. There's too many things that need splaining, as Desi Arnaz would say.
And we've interviewed bodyguards of Princess Di. It's very suspicious. So this question, I'm going to distill it down. They're asking about the release of free energy.
Oh. I mean, are we talking about Tesla energy?
Yeah, as opposed to big oil and big,
Well, I think anytime you say the word free, I think that pretty much explains the disinclination on their part to pursue this. Tesla one day will get and not just the car, but Nikola Tesla will get the notice and the acclaim that he has deserved.
Could the Menendez have used fear of HIV as a murder defense?
No. I mean, no. They're saying one brother may get out, the other one may not. Listen, they're already losing interest on that case. The reason why we talked about it was not just because of the Netflix documentary, but Gascon, the DA who lost, was like 30 points behind, and he brought this up to do anything to rekindle interest. We talked about that one. They're guilty. They killed their parents. They're not insane. There's no legal standard for provocation, as it were.
Is there ever a situation where a presidential pardon can be rescinded?
By the president, maybe. That would be difficult to undo. I guess you could revoke it, abrogate it. It could be found to be improper if a president were to try to issue a pardon for a state crime versus a federal, that would be on its face invalid. So I don't know.
Do you know anything about the technology around flight MH370?
Oh no, but I was so into that. Do you remember? Right? Hillary Clinton. Am I recalling? Did she bring something up about Bricks Bank or something? It was the weirdest. I know it was Hillary Clinton, and it might have been 370. But she had this weird. It was like Charlie Rose or one of the. But she brought up the Bricks Bank, and it was this. So I'll have to research that one. I don't want to speak out of turn.
It was fascinating because didn't 2 or 3 Malaysian flights go down in a row?
Yes.
All right. So Kazza, why has nobody else been arrested in the Diddy case yet?
Because they're talking. They're talking, or there's no interest. Because remember, he's being charged with having a racketeering organization, a racketeer. Where's the rest of the people, the other part of the organization? He's just by himself. I don't understand it. I'm not even sure what he's charged with, very frankly, at all. I don't know what he did. I mean, trafficking and well, where are the other co-defendants? He did it by himself? Where is this conspiracy?
Just a few minutes left. Do you think the JonBenet Ramsey case will ever be solved?
Yes. I heard the last time there was a very good story about a fellow who came and they had an open house at the time. The open house. And there were people who were coming in and there was somebody they were looking at two things I don't understand. How somebody sat down and wrote a letter at the desk, and they knew about John's his bonus, but also I talked to years ago the criminal profiler John Douglas, who was the inspiration for Scott Glenn's character in Silence of the Lambs, and he said I never thought it was Patsy or the brother. Very weird, very strange. Patsy, no, though, but the father, absolutely not, because in their bedroom, Douglas told me they had books he had of grieving parents and how to get over grieving. He said that when he found the daughter, he brought her and put her on the couch or the floor and very gently she was removing the tape or the binding. And this is not what a killer would do. He even showed respect. He's like, he couldn't believe. So it's not the father. Remember, didn't the father years ago become romantically involved with the mother of, what was her name? The daughter who was missing. Oh, I'm getting there's so many missing. Anyway, forget that. But they will find the answer. But the problem is, who wrote this note? Who sat down and wrote this note? I don't understand this. Because if somebody, they said that there could have been somebody who was outside, and so I think one day they're going to find the answer. If we don't lose interest.
All right, we're at the hour. Is there anything you'd like to say in conclusion? What can people look forward to on you and your wife's channel in the coming days?
Well, right now we're going to be doing breaking down how a little bit more about Biden, but how Trump is going to transform everything. And it's not just going to affect us. He's going to transform everything. And with Elon, Tucker, people like Joe Rogan and others, they made this particular aspect of politics cool again. So stay tuned at Lionel Nation. Mr. Attwood, as always, a pleasure, my friend. Thank you, sir.
Indeed. Appreciate you coming on. We learned so much. Thank you for answering all the questions. We will see you next time. Cheers.
Indeed, sir. All the best.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. What a fantastic guest. Thank you for all your questions, folks. We've got Chris Todd, I think, about to come on to speak about JonBenet Ramsey. And also, we may have Matt Cox coming on with breaking news about the Diddy flash drives. We are speaking to him presently. So these are imminent. Let's see what happens in the next couple of days. Ron is back full force with his shows. Hope you've enjoyed the day today, hours and hours of content. And we've got tons more coming tomorrow. So Take care wherever you are watching in the world, and we will see all you.